We've got two ginormous brains here today at the corner booth. I am sitting with Scott Z. Burns, a screenwriter of The Laundromat, and the author Jake Bernstein, who wrote source material, right, for The Laundromat called Secrecy World.
Think of this as fairy tale that actually happened.
They drowned Joe and 20 other innocent people, and somebody's making money from it.
Great to see you guys here, because I know this couldn't have been easy to write and to investigate. What made you want to take it on?
As an investigative reporter, it's like being a kid in a candy store. We get this leak, which ends up being 12.5 million documents at the end of the story. Suddenly you have insight into this whole secret world that we all kind of know is out there, but you never get to see inside of. We discover 140 world leaders and government officials.
You understand the intricacies of such arrangements, these shell companies, as they are called. They are so very useful.
It was endlessly fascinating, and that's what kept me interested and kept me plugging away.
How do you approach something? Like, where does your genius come out when you have this material and you're looking at a blank page?
Stephen had given me a book to read. It was a book called Thieves of State that deals with corruption all over the world. That sort of opened this door. Could we do a movie that explores what's really at the base of a lot of the problems that we face as a society? We do have a lot of money in the world, so why don't we have better schools, and why can't sick people get health care?
The meek, they were supposed to inherit the earth. Doesn't seem it worked out that way to me.
What was great about the Panama Papers leak is it sort of opened up this world of financial corruption, this whole sort of secrecy world that he writes about, this whole world of offshore shell corporations has been constructed to keep the average person from understanding. It's purposefully inscrutable. It's sort of required that we turn the telescope around and look at it from the point of view of the everyman. And Stephen was able to get maybe the best acting person in the world to do that person.
To play that little person, Meryl Streep, yeah.
Yeah, getting a text from Stephen saying, certain actress very interested in script. And I was like, can you tell me who it is? And I think he sent me their initials, and to think that Meryl Streep is actually gonna say what you wrote down is amazing.
As far as I can see, what they do is they set up companies, not real companies like a hotel or a hardware store. They set up what they call a shell, and they sell shells, not actual shells.
At what point does writing a screenplay become fun? What is your process a little bit?
Every movie is hard, whether it's a movie like this or a movie that is, known as a popcorn movie. I don't know of anybody who has an easy time telling a story. You gotta fall in love with the act of storytelling and trying to be a better writer and trying to tell important stories.
How was it to see all this research and investigative journalism play out on screen?
To see someone take that and do something that was unique, something that would reach people in ways that my book or our journalism could never do. And then, of course, when you have Meryl and Antonio and Gary and Sharon Stone and all these, and Jeffrey Wright and all these extraordinary actors, it was a dream come true.
All her companies are registered to the same law firm in Panama, Mossack and Fonseca.
And you're on set too, right? Do you do that always on his films?
I didn't go to film school. Stephen actually didn't go to film school either. So my film school's probably been standing next to Stephen for about 200 or 300 shoot days over the last 10 years. I think the most important thing I learned was that this is a collaboration, and that if you show up clinging to your script, you don't get to see what Meryl Streep will bring or what Gary and Antonio will bring.
Mossack Fonseca grew to have offices in over 50 countries, servicing over 240,000 offshore companies, foundations, and trusts.
Where do we find ourselves now?
One of the most wonderful things that I heard was someone, after seeing this movie, say, now I finally understand the Panama Papers. The great thing about Netflix is they've got a tremendous reach. And so I think this is really going to help increase awareness and understanding, because there's things that we can do, right? We need to know, who are the owners of these companies, for example. And there needs to be information exchanges between governments so that governments can know if Delaware corporations are being used by criminals, because we know they are.
State of Delaware realized it could not attract a business the same way New York and New Jersey could. So Delaware began writing corporate-friendly tax laws, hoping to lure more business. And it worked.
And even though Mossack and Fonseca are out of business now, and that firm, they weren't the only people doing this. And it's not just the law firms that create these companies, it's the bankers, it's the politicians, it's the accountants, it's everybody who doesn't do their due diligence. And then there's a host of criminals who have taken advantage of this system for years to launder money and hide it in places where authorities can never find it.
Politicians are doing it. It's not just criminals. Bribery, corruption, money laundering, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they're trying to hide the whole thing through this company called Russell Properties.
Well, congratulations. I'm so happy you guys stopped by. You made something so complicated and so daunting, so watchable and accessible and entertaining at the same time. It's a pretty big accomplishment.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
First, you must ask yourself, are you wealthy?